Good evening, folks. Hope you're well. Wednesday, 17th of April. Yeah. Well, I have to confess that if you've been watching the news, if you listen to the news, um, I normally only listen to Radio 4, and it's not me being a snob. It's that I can't stand radio shows where other people choose the music. Because, and the insane chatter between the music, it's just the same shit, different days. It's the same music, day in, day out. I mean, I don't know whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because the music's all the same. They have a playlist, and they seem to ram the same songs down your bloody ears every day. And I'm just being a grumpy old man. Well, I'm entitled to, but there's millions and millions and millions of songs out there that are amazing that you will never hear, but you'll just hear the same dribble coming out of these bloody morons on the radio. So I force myself to not listen and tune in. I don't have to force myself very hard, but if I want to hear the news, I'll turn the radio on the hour, maybe, in the morning, 7 o'clock news, AM, press the button, and it's tuned into Radio 4. I'll listen to the headlines and I'll turn it off. I can't stand this post-mortem and analysis of the reporters. Just give me the bloody headlines and switch it off. That's it. Theresa May, she's a traitor, should be hung. Her head should be spiked on Traitors Gate for what she's done to Brexit. Nigel Farage has started his party, and he's got egg on his face now, sadly. But, he's having to sort of swallow a bit of pride. Yeah, turn it off then. That's it. Brexit ain't going to happen. That's me sorted for the day. I never thought it would, to be quite honest. It was a pipe dream. And I can't see how Theresa May gets away with this. But she will, she will. Don't get me started on politics. But why this? Why this? Well, I was listening to the news. I did my 7 o'clock bit the other day, and it was like, Notre Dame is on fire, or has been, been on fire. And I thought, I'll check it out on the internet. Looked at the fire. I thought, quite sad actually, because I'd actually been into Notre Dame a couple of years ago with my wife. It wasn't so much a dirty weekend in Paris. We're a bit too old for that. Well, no, we're not. I suppose. I don't know. We went to Paris a few years back. Just me and her. The kids had, promised not to wreck the house. And we went off it was a long weekend. I remember it well. I had this romantic thing going on in my own sweet little mind. And my wife, get this, thought it was quite sweet. Yes. That I should have this idea on our anniversary that we would go to Paris on a Friday and come back on the Monday. And I booked it in private. It didn't tell her. But I made sure that she wasn't going to be committed to do any work over those days. And just drove to the airport. And I refused to tell her where we were going. But the secret was out by the people in the bloody aeroplane, because they're all, two-thirds of them are French. But we went to Paris, and I had this romantic thing. I'd always wanted it to be this way. And it cost me a fortune, did that, in hindsight, because, well, I wanted to sit on the Champs-Élysées in the spring and have a coffee and just watch the girls go by, quite frankly. There was a song there somewhere, but you can't beat it. And this was before the immigration problem, those people with the pigment problem on their skin. There's the high melanin pigment content of the skin that wrecked Paris now. But this was when Paris was Paris. And my wife said, well, this is very nice. I said, yeah, it is. And I said, well, you seem a bit uneasy, after me leching at these women going by. I mean, I was a fashion conscious freak. I thought, wow, this is wonderful. This is exactly how I envisaged Paris, on Champs-Élysées. I was 500 yards away from the Arc de Triomphe, and coming down the hill, because it's a mild hill. You think it's dead straight, but it's slightly down. And on the right-hand side, we were sat having a coffee, and I was talking to my wife as well as lecturing at the beautiful women walking by in such wonderful states of dress. And it was perfect. And then my wife started getting a bit fidgety, and I said, well, what's the matter? Well, is this what we're going to do all day? I said, we've only been here 10 minutes. It was about half an hour. She said, well, you're on your third coffee. I said, oh, do you want some more? I'm quite happy. And she was itching to go to somewhere. And I said, well, do you need the loo or something? What's the matter with you? No, she says, but I'm looking across the road. I said, I know what you're looking at. You're looking at the Gucci shop and the Louis Vuitton shop. That's what I know you're looking. And she goes, yes, and it is our anniversary. And I could tell. Yes, so I gave her my debit card. Huge mistake. And off she tootled quite happily. And then I suddenly realised that she'd taken my only means of payment, because I don't use credit cards, only means of payment to pay for the coffee. A little bit embarrassing. But I did assure the waiter I would be back in 5 minutes, and some hefty bouncer was keeping an eye on me. But, oh dear, but I was sort of tapping on the window of really didn't want to go into the Louis Vuitton shop, but goodness me. I mean, it's like breaking into the Ritz. It's like, who's this peasant knocking on the door? He's not dressed for the occasion. I looked like the Great Gatsby at the time, according to my wife. I thought I'd have a cravat, one of these things. I think neckerchief, we used to call it when I was in the Scouts. But oh, happy days. We had a wonderful time in Paris, and I don't speak a word of French. Mange tout, Rodney, as they say on Del Boy. That's about my limit. And je t'aime. I managed to squeeze that one in a couple of times over the weekend. But no, a trip well remembered. It was well worth it. And now look at it. But we did actually go into the church, and look what happened. So there's a big conspiracy going on now, isn't there, at Notre Dame, about it's about 10 or 15 churches have been burnt to the ground in the last few years in France. And there was even some French Catholic priest got beheaded during a session, didn't he, when he was giving it? He got beheaded. There's a war going on, a religious war, folks, and I do believe and I do subscribe to the idea that Notre Dame was by no accident. I think it was quite deliberately started. And it wouldn't surprise me a bit. But the truth will out, as Shakespeare says. But what a tragedy that was, because I thought it was lovely, Notre Dame, and I'm not religious at all. But you do get this strange feeling of, it's like going into, well, it's like rather like going into a library. And churches are like this, aren't they? Because there's a beautiful glasswork, there's the crown of thorns that was originally worn by Jesus, apparently is housed in Notre Dame. Well, where's the blood samples? I want to see the blood samples, man, because there must be a lot of blood on it. Oh no, it's beautifully encased in a vacuum-sealed plastic or glass tube. And it's apparently worn by the head of the Christ. Well, if you could sell that to the idiots, God knows what else they can sell them. Catholic Church is so broke it has to have a collection, of course. But I can tell you about the Vatican. The Vatican has never had a service performed in it. It's not geared towards performing services as the Vatican. Well, think about that. They don't do services. They do them in private, if they're done at all, and they're done in pure Latin. And if you're into Latin, you can see there's a video where you can see one of these private services that's attended by all the cardinals. There's so many of them. But the Latin, it's full of Satanism. And this guy did a complete translation underneath of what was being said. And it was absolutely true. They pray to Satan in the Vatican. And that's why they don't do services in the Vatican. Because it's nothing to do with Christianity. They actually, the Catholics inside the Vatican, they have this god they call Dagon. Dagon, the fish god. And that's what the Catholics do actually worship, truth be known. That's why they have the mitre hats that look like a fish. And they've got these long robes with scales on, you know. This is exactly the case. And if you look at the Pope de Rome, yes, the Jesuit that's currently in there, he's got a cross, and Jesus is hanging off the cross, leaning forward, bowing down, in a state of disgrace, of course. And that, you'll notice that that is a Satanistic way of having an inverted Christ. It's quite an insult. They're actually shoving in your face that this is what we think of your God, your Jesus, you know. So the whole thing is just a complete mess about the Catholic thing and the Vatican. It's all a joke. It's a money laundering system. That's what it amounts to. It's run. This world, folks, is run by the Jesuits. Let's make it quite clear. They're into everything, and it wouldn't surprise me. But there again, it's not. I'm not in that pay grade, sadly. But I wouldn't want to be either. You know, anybody mentions anybody who's a Catholic priest now, it's like, oh, you're a paedophile then. It's almost a given qualification, isn't it, to get in? And I don't know about you, but I think it's distasteful seeing all the, you know, before they've voted on the next pontiff, they're all having fags and laughing outside, and you know, and you think these are the men of Christ, the big red garb they wear with all their rings and regalia, having a fag. It just, you know, it doesn't do it for me, I'm afraid. They're probably planning on the next PD party that they're going to be kicking off the moment they can have a get-together. But yeah, I think that this truth will out, and it will be shown that it was our ethnic brethren caused that fire quite deliberately. But you won't be, even if they found it to be true, they wouldn't tell people. Not good for race relations. Well, it's too far in France. At least the yellow vests are doing their bit down the Champs-Élysées. What do we do in Britain when we don't Brexit? Sweet FA. Oh well. Oh dear. That's about the sum of it, isn't it? We should be going onto the motorways and stopping our car and having a cup of tea on our pasting tables. But we won't, because I've got to go to work, and oh well, it doesn't pay my gas bill, and we're all gong and no dinner, aren't we? That's what we are, Brits. We've lost that bit. We've lost this, folks. And I don't think for 1 minute we will ever Brexit in the true sense of the word. It's not in the equation. We are going to be stuck in Europe. We're going to be just as tight with them as ever before. We'll be like ticks on a dog with them, because the overall agenda, they will have their pound of flesh, and Britain will never escape. You mark my words. We will be married to this union called the European Economic Community, and they won't, well, they may, but I don't think so. It'll never go to another vote. It'll just be a pseudo-Brexit, a false Brexit. Yes, we're coming out in, towards the end of the year, but we've got so many ties, and we may as well not bother. And it shows then that democracy is absolutely dead, because in the New World Order scope, folks, democracy, it's a non-starter. You know, democracy. Two wolves and a lamb deciding on what to have for dinner tonight. It's mob rule. That's what it amounts to, folks. Mob rule. And that's democracy. We need to get back to the republic. And that ain't going to happen. Sooner or later, you see, I knew there was trouble on the horizon, even when I was in the military. Because I was in the military when they changed the camouflage, the green and browns that we used to use on exercises, let's play in the woods and shoot our guns. Well, I was a non-combatant, so I didn't have to carry a gun. Oh, I could carry a 9mm pistol. There we go. I couldn't be trusted with a SLR, self-loading rifle, let alone carry one. No. But I remember the combats we used to wear. I could hide in the woods, But suddenly, when I had to change them for the new year, it all went to khaki brown combats. I thought, well, this is strange. It doesn't look right. It's like a cat barking wearing brown combats when you've been used to wearing green ones. What on earth is this all about? Where's my camo? That's it. Yeah, but this is brown. Yeah, we know. You think, well, why have they done this? Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that the wind had changed direction. You see, we were fighting and potentially fighting our enemies in the jungle, in the forests of the world. But now we're going to be fighting them in the sands of the world. And that was before the military knew what the agenda was. But the government knew. The Ministry of Defence knew exactly. And they were equipping the troops with the appropriate gear to get camouflage in that sand. But nobody twigged for ages. I remember it well. Nobody thought, this is rather strange. We don't have enemies that are in the desert. Well, we do now, don't we? You see, they know ahead of the game. It's all planned out, and we think we're original. We think we've got a choice. We don't have a choice. Only people in a republic have a choice, when true democracy really does exist. But we don't. And stop kidding yourselves that you have a choice. Stop kidding yourselves that Britannia will never, forever rule the waves. It won't. We will be, sooner or later, engulfed like a bacteria. Our blood cells wrap around a bacteria in this, what they call a phagocytosis. The bug is there, and then the arms of our antibody or blood cell come around, the white blood cell goes around it and grabs hold and pulls it in and suffocates it, lets it decay and then absorb it. And that's what Britain will be. Because these shysters, the Europeans, have an agenda. The ultra-rich families, all 10 or 15 of them, have this agenda of centralised control, and you cannot have a maverick country out there. And America, it is destined to be going down the toilet relatively shortly, because you cannot have a superstate like America. You see, it stopped becoming the United States of America. It stopped. No way. People are not American citizens now. They are citizens of the United States of America. The United States. They're not American anymore. They just haven't got onto that idea yet. Because they have now individually, every person in America is an employee of the United States because they've been incorporated. But that's for another video. And they go into law, into the law courts ad nauseum in America. You can get arrested for practically everything. You need a permit to wipe your ass in America. What's he doing washing his car on a Sunday? Has he got a permit? This is a permit controlled zone, man. You ain't got a permit, you're going inside, you get prosecuted. This is what it's all coming to, this dictatorship, this fascist dictatorship, where you can't sneeze in the States without a permit or a license before they're on your case. You can be in the middle of bloody nowhere. You think, that's a nice little pond, I'll get my fishing rod and have a go. Nobody around for miles. And you get your rod out. The moment you got your maggot on the little hook, and you'll see a car pull up. And here he comes, text with the hat on, the badge. They love their bloody badges, don't they? All over, like bloody Boy Scouts, some of these arseholes. And you think, here he is, you know. Mother, obviously, he come off the tit a bit too soon. He's got all these badges. Love the badges. You think, here he is, trooper. Yes, the park warden. Hi, man. Can I see your documents? What documents? I am assuming you have a permit. Well, no, actually, I was assuming I wasn't surrounded by any human beings in at least an area of 50 miles. It's like these people are waiting. It's like the Venus flytrap suddenly, oh, got a fly. Ah, got it. Where's your permit? It's pathetic, isn't it? 10 minutes of watching Judge Judy is enough for me. Because they tell tales on one another. They're very club orientated. He hasn't got a permit. She never did it. The cars. You think you own property in America? Try owning a car. Oh man, selling a car in America is worse than selling a house. Have you got the tags? Have you got this? Have you got that? Is there a lien on your car? You can actually buy a car in America on tick. So, you know... And then you can put a lien on your own car by borrowing money against your car. So if you don't pay the banker back, the yids, the money-lending bastards with exorbitant rates, they'll come and take your car. Or you can't sell your car until you've paid off that loan to the yids. And you think, why would I buy a car and then do equity release on my car? And they've got you by the balls, my friend, because you can't sell that car to anyone. And if you do, it's mind your fingers as the gate shuts or you're on Judge Judy. It's phenomenal, the laws and regulations that are imposed on the average American. And we think we have it bad in UK. Well, in America now, they're launching the new 5G. It's out in anger. Just wait. Watch the hair start falling out of people. Watch the wrinkles suddenly appear on their face. Look at the arrhythmias that'll be happening in the old folk as the 5G is blasting through their system. And then wonder why the kids can't tell you what day of the week it is or how many fingers am I holding up without getting a calculator, which they probably don't know how to use. Because the 5G, folks, it operates at a liquid frequency. It operates on the molecular. The molecules, the water molecules, are going to be dead excited, man, when we get it in the UK. Dehydration rates will be going screaming up. Intelligence rates will go screaming down. That's what we got to look forward to with 5G. But I can download a film in 1.4 seconds, Mandy. Oh yeah, baby. Well, yeah. Problem is, you're not going to have the intelligence for your mind to process the bloody film because it'll be scrambled. I mean, you're listening to someone in me who is fastidious about turning Bluetooth off on his mobile phone if he's not using it. I won't have Bluetooth on my phone. I turn my phone off. I'm not a phony. I cannot understand people who just simply cannot stop picking the phone, looking at it, picking the phone up, looking at it, picking the phone, looking at it. And why don't you put your bloody phone down? In fact, give it here and I'll chuck it down the toilet if I could get away with it. You know, you've met people like this, I'm sure. They're constantly... It's an affliction. It's ill. It's an illness. You go to psychiatrist, what's the matter with your wife then? Look, she can't, look, doc, she's doing it now. I wasn't. I was seeing what the time was, that was all. Yeah, but you've got a watch on. Yeah, but you sit there. And it's nothing more infuriating than talking to someone and they're looking at their phone. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. And they're doing this. I just want to smash them in the face. I said, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to waste my breath talking to you. See ya. What? I was listening to you. Oh, you can multitask. You can flick through your phone. You can and you can check your messages. And all the time, you can split your brain in half and listen to what I'm saying to you, can you? Look, put your phone, switch your phone off. No, I'm not turning my phone off. And if you've met these people now, And we had this with the kids at one stage. Let me have a look at your phone. No, it's my phone. It's my private phone. There's nothing private in your life. You're my child. Now give me your phone. Because I want to see the messages. No, it's my privacy. You're invading my privacy. I'm paying the bill. Give me the mobile phone or I'll take it off you for good. And I'll chuck it down the toilet. I'll put an axe through it. Mum, we've had the same. It's how you deal with it that matters. Don't let the little shysters get away with it. Take the phone off them. I mean, have you seen a kid who's been deprived of their phone? It's like cutting their supply of oxygen off. They're like a flat of fish that's on the shore. They're flapping about. What are they going to do without the phone? There's such a dependency. They're naked without it. I've seen people wake up in the morning. Grown adults. Oh, what's the time? Oh, bloody hell, is that time? And they're searching around. What's the matter? What's the matter? I can't find my phone. They're in a panic attack. I can't find my phone. You think they don't have a baby? He's having a baby but can't find his phone. I've hidden it. Yes, have you seen my phone? No, I haven't. And you can drive them nuts, can't you? Just hide the phone. I'm telling you, I have not touched your phone, so bugger off and go and annoy someone else. I'm not interested in your phone. I've got it. Great play. It just shows you how obsessed they are. If it's not the phone, it's the telly or the control of the remote control. Yes, it's mine, I tell you. All mine. Nobody's going to change your channel. And I walk up to the telly and press it. Donk. That's when I used to watch telly. Or just pull the plug out. That pisses them off. Children, tellies, remote controls, anything that goes ping. And they're all very secretive. And the number of relationships between couples, whether they're married or courting, have been destroyed by mobile phones and messages. What's that message? You get a message off now. Who's texting you this time of night? And it's a huge topic for argument, isn't it? Because having a phone when no one else has access, or even putting a password. Why'd you put a password on your phone? Because it's my phone. Yeah, but what's so secret in your life that you have to put a password on it? From me. What's your password? I'm not telling you. Well, hang on a minute. I share my bed with you. I share my house. I share my wealth. I share you with me. We have sex, yada, yada, yada. And you won't give me your password because you have this private little life in your phone. Yeah, well, it's my private little life and I'm entitled, get this, I'm entitled to my privacy. Okay, you're entitled to your privacy. See you later. Where are you going? Why should I tell you? Oh, where are you going? I'm going out. See ya. Where are you going? Who are you going with? What you're seeing? What you're doing? Why can't I come? Why can't I come? It's the same as them having a password on their phone, isn't it? You feel ostracised there and they don't like it back at them, do they? You see, that's the best way. If they want to be secretive, fine, you be secretive. You see, it's a terribly unfair thing to do to people, especially your husbands and wives, is to have secrets. Because that's a big no-no. I have no secrets from my wife. I can honestly say I have 0 secrets from my wife. We had secrets from the children, but nothing sinister. But in relationships, folks, the moment people start putting passwords on and stopping their partners, husbands, wives, particularly, looking, even boyfriends and girlfriends, why can't I see your phone? Because it's quite frankly none of your business. But it is my business because I'm investing my trust in you. And if you don't trust me, you evidently don't because you password your phone and you password your computer. Everything, all the programs you get into, you have passwords. I despise this nonsense about having to put passwords on your home-based PC. Why would you bother? But they still insist upon it. It's engendered now, isn't it? You can't open a bit of software, without having to put a password to even boot your computer up. What's the username and password? I've never set it up to ask for one. Now they're just assuming that everybody wants to use username and password for security, as though we're all that bloody important. It's engendered within us now. Look into my eyes, I tell you. They are actually brainwashing us into being secretive. And secretism, or secretiveness, secrecy, breeds mistrust between people. They don't want you to have a trusting, loving relationship where there's no secrets. Because the best secret you can keep is the one you never speak about, and it's in your head. And the good news for your partners is they don't know you've got one. But when they're sitting there doing this and you're trying to talk, and then you say, give me your phone, I want to read your text messages, and they won't let you read them, alarm bells go off in my mind. I am zero tolerance of such behaviour. My wife can look at my phone any time of the day. I leave it on the side. I don't cart it around in my pocket. It's there. And I'll even ask her to pick the phone up. That is entire trust, and she can interrogate that phone as much as she likes. And she won't find a thing, because I'm that crystal clear, squeaky clean. And I would expect to do the same to hers. And I do. But if you're stuck with someone who insists on putting passwords on bloody everything, there is something desperately wrong. And it's nothing to do about security. If there's nothing that important in life, folks, that you simply cannot turn the bloody mobile off and leave it at home, or turn it off, put it in your pocket, and drive to Tesco's or drive to town or wherever you're going to do, but turn the bloody phone off. And then you can carry it around with you in case you have an emergency. You see? That's fine. But not in case someone calls you, because nobody's that bloody important that they'll demand your immediate attention the moment they phone you. We've got this, must answer it now, must get back to them, must. And yet, it's all bullshit, isn't it? Really. Because none of us are that important. If you were, heaven forbid, to drop dead tonight, the world will still be there in the morning. Life goes on. Why? Well, people feel important having a password and secrets. It's their little games that people play. Roald Dahl wrote a fabulous book, Roald Dahl, called The Games That People Play. And it's one book you need to read. It's all about one-upmanship, and I've got something over you, and I know something you don't. Well, bully for you. Because there's nobody knows anything I'm particularly bloody interested in, quite frankly. I can entertain myself in my own sweet way. I don't need to rely on others, and there's certainly nothing in anybody's phone I'm particularly interested in bloody looking at. So they can stick it where the sun don't shine, and they want to play silly buggers with their usernames and passwords and think they're all so grown up. And the worst thing we ever did was give kids mobile phones, and yet they're getting them younger and younger and younger, aren't they? I despair when I see 3 to 5 year old parents of 3 to 5 year olds saying, "Oh, my little David, he's ever so clever. He can use an iPod, he's only 3. Look, he's got his iPad. Yeah. She can't afford to feed them and clothe them properly, but they've all got an iPad. 3 kids, they've all got iPads. Look into my eyes. And yeah. And there she is, on benefits, 40 fags a day, goes down the pub. These people's houses are full of all the latest gear. Have you noticed? But they don't feed the kids properly. The kids get charity clothes. But they've got all the high-tech stuff, man. They've got the phones. A 5-year-old with a mobile phone, are they insane? Do you know how thin a child's skull is at the age of 5 or 7? Hello, do you want to speak to Daddy? Here you go then. Hello, Daddy. And it's cooking. It makes me want to throw up. All I'm asking really is if Scotty is out there, will he kindly beam me up? And Notre Dame was an inside job. You watch the race wars happen. even stronger now in Paris. The frogs won't hang about. They will. Look at them. The frogs, the French, with due respect in it, they know how to protest. Well, they've learnt that since the Nazis invaded Paris. They didn't exactly put up quite a fight when that happened, did they? The French. No, all right, don't hurt me. Okay, come on in then. We'll entertain the Nazis in our bars with our, rah-rah girls and all that lot. And the Nazis were there. Didn't see the French objecting too much. The only decent fighters in France, of course, were the resistance. I will tell you en advance. Yes, from hello, hello. They're the true French. And don't mess with the French Legion. But they're not all from France, are they? The French Legion. The Foreign Legion. That's why they call them foreign. Not that many French people in the Foreign Legion. Strangely enough. Because they're real fighters. They're real troops. They wouldn't have allowed the Nazi occupation of France. Or Paris, certainly. In 1941, 42, 43. But I still think Paris is a lovely place. And the French should kick out these foreigners so fast they won't see it coming. And strange is true, French are very similar to British people. British people are very nice until they're pissed off. And then we have the potential to be bloody nasty. And so have the French. It's just that the French have got a slightly shorter fuse. Bring back the guillotine, I say. Yes. We'll see what happens with the silk alchemies flying around, covered in blood in due course in Paris. That'll happen. There will be a revolution that Macron never saw coming. Couldn't happen to a nicer banker. I bet Macron's wife has her few secrets as well, doesn't she? Yes. Good luck to her. Ha 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 ha.